Good morning, Charlie Riverman Bergeron here on Presence of Light. I'm a couple of minutes early, but that's okay. I'm smudging with Palo Santo, and I want to create some resonance. Opening the throat chakra, the pineal, and our crown chakras. As I begin this talk about mothers, healing, care, and compassion, as I sit before you, I feel I'm talking way out of my league and my expertise. But what's prompted me is not my knowledge per se, but my journey, the journey of my heart with my own mother and many mothers that I've seen in the world, and many women that I see in the world who are truly trying to recover from a lot of damage. And as a male who is trying to balance his masculine and feminine energies, which has been going on for 20 years or more now since my near death, I've been gifted with the ability to journey within myself and release layers and layers of what I would commonly call damage. Good morning, Ileana. Good. Hope I pronounced your name right. And Rosalie, good morning. These damages that, when I look back in my life, partly came through my not understanding the divine feminine and the divine feminine energy and the concept of motherhood, even in my own mother, who was, I'll probably talk about as I get started. Sheila, good morning. And so for all of you who are tuning in, whether you're male or female, this message is really for all of us as we move and go through this process of releasing damages within ourselves that have been caused by misunderstandings and by a perpetual regeneration of falsity, which we're now seeing people coming forward and standing in their integrity. And so I fought writing things this morning or last night when I started this concept. I was guided by the Divine Mother, of course, to access this within myself. And so my own life history is really what is revealing itself and allowing me to obtain a better understanding of the shadows which I carry and I operate through, and realize that in my lifetime and in all of our lifetimes, we have, and maybe many of you haven't, but I will say I have had this love-hate relationship with my mother, who is long deceased. And I have come to peace with that, and I now speak with her and carry her in my heart, knowing full well that she had more pain and suffering than I would wish on anybody due to her own situation with her mother. And so to her mother's mother, what I see as a lineal pattern of the divine feminine being held back from all of us on some level. And our working through that is really what's important as we move forward into what we deem the new earth. So these talks are coming from me. I don't have any expertise in this. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not anything other than a human being in a male body who is looking at Mother's Day that's coming up and realizing how many mothers in this world are suffering right now. And I honor each and every one of you. And I also see the men in this world who are suffering because of their relationship or their understanding of motherhood. They're expressing their frustration with their divine female partners. And so Mother's Day, as I looked this up, we celebrated here in the United States and another 65 other countries around the world on the second Sunday of May. And I found that interesting. And I also found that Mother's Day is also celebrated in every month somewhere around the world. Okay, different countries based on their sacred customs or their local gathering. Mother's Day is celebrated around the world at least once every month. And I found that very interesting in a world where we have really demeaned womanhood and we have demeaned femininity. And yet this one day everybody gets together and it's almost like, oh, well, we can erase all our hatred and angers towards women and our oppression of women by just celebrating Mother's Day. Oh, I'll put mother on the pedestal for one day. And it really hit me hard. I said, how sad is that? We should raise the divine feminine in us to be present every day in our life. We need to be mother to ourselves, as well as honoring the mother who gave us birth and brought us through the womb and through the waters into our present form. And as I deepen my thought about that, I started to see my own mother and how my relationship with her as a very young child started out very good. Although I also saw, as I'm writing in my book, of when I was in her womb, I felt the patriarchal cynicism towards women. When she went to the doctor and was having what she thought female problems because she wasn't, she was too old and she had already been told 1,000 times she would never have children. So the doctor said to her, oh, this is just a tumor, and I don't know the name of it, but women know this uterine tumors. And when she received that information from the doctor, there was a bolt of energy that went through me as a fetus that shocked me, because it was almost as if I was being totally refused. I was being dismissed. And my mother went into fear, and that shock of fear went through me. Come to find out later, I was born, and the doctor said to her, you'll be carrying this tumor in your arms. And so that became the standing joke in my family. I was the only child. And that I was a tumor. I was the tumor, the walking, talking, living, breathing tumor. And everybody had a good laugh. But that, again, here we go back to our childhood and our mothers and how our mothers were treated disrespectfully, instead of kindly, instead of compassionately going through these medical issues. So we, throughout the world, the patriarchal teachings of society have forced women into submission, into self-denial. And like my mother, many of them, it becomes micro-suicide, where a part of them is eroded and eroded and eroded to the point where their pain is so unbearable, but they don't even know or recognize it. And so they act accordingly to protect themselves, and they put up a shield. And we as men look at that as if it's an attack on us, and then we respond in kind or in unkindness. And this is where, when we look at Mother's Day, let's open the gateway within our hearts and look at our relationships with our mothers at a deeper level, and begin to recognize how important the mother-child relationship is. Much like our Divine Mother, who speaks through me sometimes, that I will read a poem that I wrote that was inspired by a painting at the end of this. And it comes through the Divine Mother in me, and that each one of us carry the codes, and we carry the energy of the Divine Mother in our hearts. And we need to set her free. And as I speak, a lot of this is unscripted. Believe me, I write and I write and I write and I race and I write and and once I get talking, which is why I can't look at the sideboard too many times, is I roll with this. And so I'm here to honor the Divine Feminine, each and every one of us. The words healing, care, and compassion came through as my expression of when I think of the Divine Mother and what mothers bring to us, and what the Divine Feminine aspect of life brings to us is healing, care, and compassion. And how, when I look around the world, what I see is a lack of healing, a lack of caring, and a lack of compassion. Albeit it's improving every day, with each one of us coming to own our own expression of love, and being not afraid to stand up and express that, whether we're male or female. This is what's important now, is we bring through the healing, the care, and the compassion as individual items or as a package. And know that every grandmother, great-grandmother, mother, and daughter are truly a representation of that. And we need to not honor them just one day a year. We need to honor that every day of our lives, and to respect that, and to raise it up again to the level of equality, which we've not had for thousands of years. We've perpetuated a nightmare on mothers for years. We've raped them, we've beaten them, we've killed their children. How do we repair this damage, other than repairing it within our own hearts first? So I'm asking each of you on Mother's Day to deepen your relationship to the mother aspect within yourself. Whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. We all have that aspect within us. And if we're truly going to bring the world into a new presence of light. This is what needs to take place. And when I talk with other men, which is, I've been doing that much more lately, men who are just beginning their journey on talking emotionally, talking from their hearts with other men. There's a lot of men's groups beginning, and there's a lot of healing being done, yet a lot of them skip over the heart and the relationship to the divine feminine. Most men feel uncomfortable, as I did when I was younger. And that uncomfortableness created pain and suffering in others. My daughter has not spoken to me for 20 to 30 years. I don't know. I've lost time. Okay. So thinking I was a good father. Obviously, she has a different memory. She remembers the emotional damage because of my misunderstanding of my femininity. I married a woman who was painfully separated from her femininity. She was, as I look back now, more masculine than I was. And she took on that male aspect of disrespecting and disregarding me. And so I've seen this play out in my life with my own mother, who became an alcoholic, who I watched her commit suicide. I call it slow suicide. And end up with cancer because she couldn't express her femininity. And so I see this playing out in the world, and it's not a pretty picture. And many of you are suffering right now. And I pray for each one of you, and I send you light and love to heal those wounds. Heal those wounds of the feminine within you. I love you and I bless you and I thank you for being brave enough to look into your hearts and learn to respect the mother in you, as well as celebrating Mother's Day. For those of you who have had children, I honor each and every one of you. And for the women out here who are listening who have not held children, I honor you as well. It does not make you incomplete. It does not make you less than. You are still the beautiful divine mother. And I ask you to express that in your daily life. Whether you become the mother to animals or to the mother to plants or the mother to nature or whatever, bring forth that you have the power of the divine mother within you. And it needs to be expressed. So mother is much more than the person who gave us life, who carried us into life. She's the divine feminine in all of us. And as I speak, I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of that. I'm overwhelmed by the tenderness and the ability to see that in everybody. This is where we are asking to be healed. This is where our damage originates. It goes, if you want to look at the Christian story of Adam and Eve in the garden, it goes all the way back to that. So whether that's a true story or not is irrelevant. But you can see that even in the stories of the beginning of man and woman, the divine feminine was labeled and scorned. And so you wonder why we live in a world that thinks war and killing, disrespecting is acceptable. If you can dishonor the life-giving force which brings you into this world, you not only defile yourself, you defile all of creation. And it's really simple. It's really simple to just turn around and look at that and to say, wow, look at the beauty of my femininity. It doesn't mean that I'm a homosexual, or it doesn't mean, and I'm going to say this to the men who are listening, because many of you are threatened by that. And it has nothing to do with sex, really. Sex is an outward expression, and it's a choice. Doesn't mean that you feel more feminine. Fine, express it. But express it in a way that is respectful to femininity. Don't defile it. And for the women who feel masculine, there's nothing wrong in that either. You're just expressing that sense. And Father's Day is coming up. We're going to go through the same thing with the masculinity. And I may do a talk on that then. What does masculinity mean? Masculinity has been given this label and this sort of expression of the warrior and, the aggressive. Not all men express that because they've balanced themselves. And this is what I'm talking about. When we can balance the masculine and the feminine and come into, sure, there'll be certain times will be one or the other, but the end result is that each of us begin to see each other in a complete different way. One of respect, one of mutual consideration, one where we see each other's pain and suffering, and not only do we have compassion, but we want to heal it, and we want to care. We want to care for that other person on some level. The choices are all yours as to how far we take that. This is the energy of the Divine Mother, as I understand it. Now, next week, I may have a complete different understanding. But as we approach Mother's Day, I feel that I need to express this publicly. I need to stand up and speak out for all the men who are going through this and trying to honor that. And I need to stand up and speak out and say thank you to all the women who for thousands of years have had to carry this burden and yet still remain loving to all life. I bless each and every one of you. And I hope that this Mother's Day, as the Divine Feminine rises even higher, not only within the world, but within each of us, that we begin to learn how to express that to each other in ways that will change the world forever and bring it back to a semblance of the Garden of Eden, where abundance and grace and bliss are a normal part of our lives, not something a far off, way out vision. This week on Love Lives Here, which is a program by Good of the Whole, this artist, Catherine Skaggs, drew this picture live on video, on FaceTime Live. And I believe she's on again tonight, going to do another drawing. This, as she posted this picture, I'm going to hold it somewhere if I can. As she posted this picture, I took it, and because I play with photography, I sort of realigned it and just cleaned it up because I wanted a copy of it, because it was a journey, and she does basically shamanic intuitive painting, and the energy was just so profound. And as I was doing that, the Divine Mother came through me. And as I tell people, I've chosen to be in service to the Divine Mother. And I can't express really what that means, other than I know that it's time for us to return to supporting the males. In a past life, many past lives, I've worked in the temples of goddesses. And so it's not unnatural for me to want to be in service of the Divine Mother. And so there's a message that arose within me, and I'm going to read it to you. And it's called, My Beloved Children of Light. My beloved children of light, as you dive into your passionate hearts, know that you are always swimming within mine. We are never separated in any moment of your journey. This radiance that you encounter before you, even when you close your eyes so as not to see, cannot ever be quelled or diminished, nor can it ever be overpowered by any falsity. For I sit before you to remind all humanity of the beauty and magnificence each of you truly are, as well as the brilliance you are to emanate as we join our energetic expressions in unity. Call on me when you are weakened or fearful. Know that I am always within you and around you, to soothe and comfort you or lift you up from all that you may encounter on behalf of the whole. Blessed ones, bathe and then don the colors before you, knowing that within your truth the rainbow shines, and that each of you are gathered here now to remember and bring forth your gifts of reconnection. And I want to just close by thanking you, each of you, and reminding you that Mother's Day is more than just one day a year. Although it's beautiful, we take the time to do that and raise the Divine Mother into the full presence. But I ask you to carry that day every day in your hearts and recommit yourself in relationship to the Divine Mother. And I'm just going to read this little part of a poem called Cause and Effect by Elise Ciara. And it's so appropriate as I read it this morning. The chaos present today in the world belongs to the old. If we don't dissolve it, the effect of today will become the cause of tomorrow, increasing our state of chaos. So in those words, I ask you to return to your beautiful selves. Let's put an end to the chaos we have been perpetuating against each other for so many thousands of years. I just want to say that I love you, I thank you, and I respect you. And I don't know what happened there. That's okay. I'm still here. I love it. I love when that happens. So now I will end. I clicked something and something happened, and I just want to say blessings to all of you and each of you. And thank you, Carly, for your comments. I can read some. I was just talking to my husband about 20 minutes ago. Thank you, Jessica, and thank your husband for openly sharing these things. And this is I can't see too many of the comments. Okay, dress more masculine out of comfort. Dress any way you want. Our masculine and femininity isn't so much our expression, outward expression, it's what's in our hearts. And this is where part of the patriarchal system has made us look at the outside and respond to the outside and not the inner. And so again, Lisa, thank you and bless you, dear. I've seen your post on Mother's Day, and I do resonate with all that you've been through. And Lisa brings up the memory of how many mothers have lost their children and how that pain and suffering is so deep. And I bless you all who are suffering that, and know that their love for you has not ended, that where they are, they know who you are and what you are, and they receive every bit of love that you give them. And so when I died, the realization is that the peace, light, and love energy that I now come through and embrace and bring to the world was from the divine feminine. It wasn't the masculine energy. I went back into a womb that's of creation that is something that I can't put into words. And now my relationship with my mother, who is deceased, she's always with me, as is the Divine Mother who speaks through me, as you just heard. So these are the messages of Mother's Day, and that I want to put out there, is that this is not a fantasy. This is not just a dream that we have. It's a reality that can unfold in your very life if you so choose. Just say, I am willing to reconnect. Although it may be painful, it may bring up a lot of stuff about myself, about my family, about all of these things. But until we can dispel the illusions that surround us about how masculine and feminine energy needs to balance each other, we'll never move forward, and we'll certainly continue the chaos, which is so unnecessary. With that, now I'm complete, and I will end. It says end live video. So bless you all. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day, and yeah, embrace yourselves as well, and know that your ability to love is what is important. I love you. I thank you, and I respect you. Be at peace, and we'll see you next week.